You want it? We have it. The hottest mortgage and real estate strategy broadcast in the nation. A Smarter Way Home with your host, Danielle Boote and Victor Bals. 50 years combined experience, ranked in the top 1% in the nation for home loan originations 2020. Promise to expand your knowledge, utilizing creative mortgage financing and home buying strategies. Build a bridge for a better quality of life. Get your brain cells firing for a smarter way home. And welcome to another episode of A Smarter Way Home. We have a modern mortgage and home buying solutions for real estate professionals and consumers alike. I am your host, Victor Bals, over 20 years mortgage experience, and I have my wonderful co-hostess, with the mostest, Mrs. Danielle Boote.
Good morning, Victor. Did you have extra coffee today?
I was up at 2:30 this morning.
That's a little too early.
I am on my fourth cup of coffee
so
already
it's
today.
almost dinner time for you.
It's almost dinner time. I'm ready for my nap, and it's only 8:30 in the morning here. So today we have a very cool kind of show with real estate coordination and communication, which is a very huge part of a successful real estate and mortgage transaction today. Danielle, who are our guests?
It is my pleasure to introduce Melissa Goucher and Meaghan Murphy with Real Leverage Solutions. They are co-owners of a company. They'll give us more background information about the company and how they came to be, but I've known Melissa for 13 years. I don't know, Meaghan, I think I've known you've been in real estate 5-6 more years now. So why don't you give us some information about your background, and would love to dive into this. So here's the interesting thing from a real estate perspective. And if you are a realtor listening or a potential buyer or seller listing, there's a lot of paperwork and detail that goes on in the back end of real estate. So just like the mortgage business is really different than it was 15 or 20 years ago, real estate is very different as well, which has caused a need and a solution to those problems.
Well, welcome aboard, Meaghan. First of all, give us a little bit about you.
Oh gosh, okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I have been in real estate for about 6 years, in different type of scenarios.
Well, let me dive in this a little bit. Meaghan, I've known you for quite a while. You have a background. Let's talk about your background first. Your background, you were out in California for a bit, right?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, and what did you do there? You were actually, give us a little bit about that. What did you do there?
I lived in LA, and I did casting for reality shows.
Casting for reality shows. That had to be very cool.
It was cool. It was weird. It was a really weird job to have. It was a lot of, we did all different shows, so I met all different kinds of people. We did everything from, CNBC shows to country music channel, all of it. So it was really fun.
So what brought you back to Michigan?
Well, weirdly enough, my mom got into real estate. She thought I'd be a great fit for it. And weirdly enough, the skills for casting reality shows really do translate into real estate. You got to meet new people. You got to sell your product. I mean, it's not that different.
Okay, so now you gravitated towards real estate, and then you went over to real estate brokerage there, and then you kind of got a job as an admin assistant to kind of the back door of real estate. What does an admin assistant do?
So I actually assisted Melissa here in all of the back end stuff that gets realtors paid. We would get the closing docs, we would cut their paychecks. So it was a lot of attention to detail and making sure everything got done right back there.
Okay, and so Mel, tell us a little bit about you. What's your background and what brought you into real estate?
Wow. So I have been in real estate for 25 years.
So you got in when you were 3? Yeah.
I wish. I was 16 when I got into real estate, and I started as a receptionist for a brokerage, and then I, moved to another brokerage, was able to work more in the back end of the brokerage, cutting commission checks, making sure that the agent's paperwork is in order. And I've moved around to a couple of different real estate brokerages in the last 25 years. So
okay,
yeah.
So you formed this company that you have now. What drove you to even consider pulling Meaghan into this? And what are the trials and tribulations? What came up with this concept? Where did this all come from?
So Meaghan and I working together for the last about a year and a half, we would see the struggles that the agents would go through, with getting their paperwork and, making sure that, everything is signed, dated, initialed, which is obviously the proper process for, a real estate transaction. We had to protect the brokerage and make sure that all of the paperwork was, in perfect tip-top shape. And we would see that the agents, would struggle with this. And I think a lot of it is they're so busy running around, showing homes to different clients, writing offers, listing homes, coordinating photos and, for sale signs and all of the paperwork. And Meaghan and I looked at each other one day and just said, we need to do something about this. They need our help. They are better suited for doing what they do best.
Go sell houses.
Yes, exactly. Get out of the office. Don't worry about the paperwork. That's what we do.
Okay.
It's something that, obviously 25 years experience, 6 years of experience, seeing both sides of the real estate transaction from, a brokerage standpoint and then also from a real estate standpoint. We want to help the agents. That's really our passion.
Well, there's a lot of great real estate agents. And
Absolutely.
in this day and age, there's a lot of teams which sometimes will hire a full-time admin. But most real estate agents can't afford to hire somebody full-time.
Well, and to sustain it,
Yes, exactly.
For a couple of months, they may be really busy and, be able to sustain that salary. And then, things kind of wane off a little
Right,
bit.
right. I mean, real estate is seasonal or cyclical, especially in Michigan. And, or do they know how to train that person or manage that person? And real estate is governed by the state of Michigan, right? So the paperwork, not only is the paperwork protecting the buyer, the seller, and the real estate agents involved, but it is state regulated and has to be done properly or they will be fined, right?
Correct.
I mean, there's
Absolutely.
serious concerns there.
There's serious consequences.
Lots of liabilities.
Yes, absolutely.
And real estate agents are independent contractors. Now, if you're a potential buyer or seller and you're thinking about, okay, why do I need to know all this? Well, you want a smooth transaction.
Absolutely.
You need the I's dotted, the T's crossed. And, we could write a book about all the problems that we've seen. And,
even on the smoothest transactions.
Exactly. So, one little detail that really messes up the mortgage process is the earnest money deposit, which is collected when you sign the offer, make an offer. It is cashed within 3 days of seller's acceptance. But do you know how many times a year we run into a transaction? And on the mortgage side, we have to then verify that check cleared the buyer's account. And we'll be asking the buyer, okay, we need another bank statement. We need to show that your deposit cleared. And guess what? They're like, well, it hasn't cleared. And we're 3 weeks into the transaction, ready to close, and someone lost the check or didn't deposit the check. Now, not only, even if it's an accident, it's against state law.
Absolutely.
But now we're slowing down the transaction, and all of those little details make a smooth transaction for the buyer, for the seller, for the realtors. And honestly, in our world, as loan officers, one of the most painful things sometimes is dealing with inexperienced real estate agents.
Yes.
Because if somebody doesn't hold it together, we end up having to kind of jockey the transaction and keep it all together,
Absolutely.
Okay, so because we've got well-seasoned realtors and then we've got the newer agents. And I know of a young lady, a newer realtor, and she doesn't have an admin team and she's trying to do it herself. But yet, if she's trying to do the admin, she's not out there on the streets prospecting, following up, and creating appointments. Do you have these conversations or these debates with new agents at all?
Well, that's the main thing. Whether you're brand new or you've been doing it for years and years, the thing is time. I mean, as soon as you have somebody under contract, what you as a business owner really need to be doing is going out and getting more clients.
Turn it in and forget about it.
Yep.
And they just don't have the time. As a new agent, it's going to take you hours and hours to write a contract and all of that. But even if you're experienced, typically it's not what they want to be doing, and it's not something that they really have the time for.
Okay, so I'm a new agent or an experienced agent. I utilize your services. I turn in the purchase agreement. And of course, there's a road bump along the way. And we need an addendum. We need something. The inspection fails. There's a problem with the appraisal. How are you guys involved in that? And do you help writing addendums or assisting the realtor? What would your role be in that?
Yeah, our role is to basically do as much as we can possibly do for you that you feel comfortable with. That's why when we design this, we sort of put together different packages because agents are different. Some don't want to give up control of certain things. Some really do just want to turn it in and forget it.
Okay, so you brought up these packages. Explain. I'm a realtor. I have a deal, and I want to utilize your service. Give me a typical conversation you would have with a realtor regarding the different packages.
Sure. So we would present, the different packages to our potential client, and letting them know that, yes, we can be as involved as they want us to be. Okay. And, our lowest package really, our most inexpensive package really is, just making sure that all the paperwork is in order, kind of taking it through a compliance process. Are all the signatures there? Are all the initials there? Has a change been made that only the seller initialed and the buyer didn't initial? I mean, all those little things that, as you're going through these transactions, it can get lost if you're not really detail oriented and know the contracts as well as we do.
So once you go through this compliance check, do you report to the agent, or do you go out and obtain those signatures from the seller and introduce yourself, or how does that work?
Well, it depends on if that's what the agent wants us to do. A lot of times the agent still wants to have that two-way conversation with their client. Great. We're going to go ahead and draft that addendum for them, and then we'll allow them to take it from there.
Okay, so that's the minimum package, or just because they're testing the waters to see if they want to give you a little bit more rope.
Absolutely. I mean, they have to be able to trust us in what we do. And, absolutely. If there's an agent that is not sure, and they just want to kind of test it out on one transaction, great. Let's see where it takes us. And, maybe the package that they had chosen, for their first transaction, maybe now on the next transaction, they want us to do more.
They want to upgrade.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So explain what the upgrade, okay, you got version 1, and then you go up the next level. What's version 2?
So our packages are silver, gold, and platinum is how we have put them into place. So our silver package is very basic, making sure that, everything is correct and ready to go and ready to be turned into the market center or the office. We would make sure that we, depending on which system the brokerage uses, to store their documents and things like that, we'll make sure we upload it into that particular system. And, then we're pretty much hands off. We will order title work in our silver package as well. Because that is very important as well. So we'll send the purchase agreement over to the title company of the agent's choice and make sure that the lender and the co-op agent have all of the fully executed documents as well.
Okay, and then the platinum package, what is that?
The next one would actually be our gold
package. Okay.
And it depends on if we're listing the home or if we're involved in the transaction side. So currently we're obviously talking about the transaction.
Oh, wait a minute, you just said listing the home. So the agent has a listing appointment and they said, yes, I would love to list. They can turn that in and you guys do all the work?
Absolutely.
Yep, and platinum side, we'll prepare the listing docs for you before you go. So you have one coming up. You give us the information that you have, and we'll get as much of that done as possible.
Oh, so these are pre-listings, pre-listing appointments.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, and do you have pre-listing packages that you have to help these agents? Because a lot of them don't have, let's say, marketing material, or they want better marketing material or different?
Absolutely. Yep. We will help you with all the marketing material stuff for the open house. We'll order the signs to be put in, all of that. We basically, we don't go to the house and we don't meet with the clients.
Right.
But besides that, you need something done, we can take care of it.
Interesting. And then the big package?
The big package it's basically everything. Again, it's everything short of actually going to the house or actually, meeting with the clients. But we're in communication with lender, with title, with the co-op agent, with everyone. And that's another big thing I think that we take care of is timing. Coordinating all these things, coordinating these appointments, making sure that deadlines are met. That's something when you have a bunch of transactions going that can get lost in the shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
Very easily, too.
Exactly. Yeah, I had a transaction recently where we had no title work.
Wow. So that got missed in the cracks.
Well, it was a split situation. So the seller ordered from one title company, the buyer's agent ordered from the other. And there was a unique situation with the property, and the listing side was ready, and the buyer side could never get it ready. So it delayed closing a couple of weeks, and then we finally put together that, it was a unique transaction, and we needed to close with one title company, but the agents were clueless. And we were dealing with rate lock extensions. It was getting expensive, and you know what? They just didn't know what to do when there was a problem, and there was no communication.
Right. Well, that's one thing, I guess, that I've got experience from being an agent, coming into the business, not really having any background, is there's just so much to learn.
Yeah.
And there's just so much you don't know, and a lot of stuff you don't know until it happens. So, if you haven't been in these situations, whether you have a mentor or someone you're working with or a team, there's new stuff happening all the time.
Exactly. And if you have a property to sell, let's talk about that from a seller's perspective. You probably have a mortgage. You might have a homeowners association. You could have a second mortgage. Okay, those are the basics that I can think of off the top of my head that all have to be addressed. And then there's weird stuff, like if a seller had a divorce, a bankruptcy,
Cloudy title.
Yes. We've also had a lot of forbearance issues recently in the last couple of years that impact the whole payoff process and what that seller's getting. And that all has to be figured out. And sometimes, I don't know. Do you remember, Melissa? 10 years ago, you could get a payoff in an hour or 15 minutes. Now it's a week.
Yes, absolutely.
We have gone so backwards in so many areas, real estate related right now. And it's nothing that we have control over it. Not as a lender, not as the realtor, not as a, coordination team. To go, okay, well, if we don't order that payoff in the right time frame, we're not closing. Or if the homeowners association doesn't respond,
in
a
timely fashion. One of the problems I've been seeing, I don't know, in the last year is in the 11th hour, right when we are nearing our clear to close, and all of a sudden we see title companies coming in and getting these huge email chains because, from here on out, so-and-so is going to take this transaction over. And there's a loss of communication. Or they're copying the borrower. Somehow they got the borrower's email, and they're just inundated with all these email, and it kind of perplexes the client.
Yeah, you don't know who you're applying to at that point. It's a little scary.
Right.
Yeah, it gets crazy. So do you guys also handle the communication throughout the transaction? Because we as lenders, it all stops with the money. So generally we take, I guess, first share in trying to do the communication. How do you work with the lenders on communicating and making sure the timing's going good?
Sure, absolutely. We will check in with the lenders and the title companies throughout the transaction to make sure everything is on track and going smooth. When we first take on a transaction, we're going to send out introduction emails to the buyer, depending on who we're representing, the buyer, the lender, the title companies, the co-op agents, just so that they all know that from day one that we need to be involved in that email chain so that we can make sure that we can take care of all these things that happen throughout the process of the transaction.
It's funny you talk about getting all the players. That seems to be one of the biggest problems for us as a lender. I got a purchase agreement in yesterday. A listing agent wasn't even listed on the purchase agreement.
We had the same thing.
No email, no phone number, no license. And so now we got to spend sometimes hours or days tracking down the listing agent. We'll call the agent and say, what's the name? Oh, here's their name. I don't have any other information. We finally get the cell phone, and now we find out, they're up north off the grid, and they won't be back till Monday. and we got to get this transaction moving. So I know how painstaking it is just with the simple transaction sheet of who are all the players, because a lot of real estate agents have assistants. They don't want to check their email, so we need to coordinate with their assistants. And you guys do all that and try to get everybody on the same page?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and that's the benefit for, using us is, you will get a quick answer from us. We're not out, we're not showing houses, we're not talking with other clients, we can get that stuff in quickly. And ideally, before the agent even realizes there is a problem, it's been solved.
Wow. Okay, with all the teams that are out there, what I also see is this team has this way to do things, this team has that way to do things, and this team has that way to do things, and this agent doesn't even have a team, and they're trying to be a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, is basically what it boils down to, is all these different processes. It'd be nice to have a uniform process within the industry, and it looks like that's what you're trying to drive to.
I mean, in a sense, but we're also going to, go based off of that particular agent or that particular team's, systems and processes. I mean, they already have things that work for them, and we want it to continue to work for them. We're just here behind the scenes to help them with anything and everything that they want us to be involved in. Absolutely. And, yes, it is, sometimes, can be a challenge to go from, one process and one system along to the other. But that's, what we do. And our brains just work that way. We can flip relatively quickly, from one team to another, and making sure that all of the processes go as smooth as possible.
Okay. I guess by you seeing different teams and all that, you see the different processes, so you can actually tweak your process to see what's working and what's not?
Absolutely, 100%.
And our goal when we started this, and this is, when we worked in the back end of the brokerage, the whole reason we started this was to help the agents. I mean, that's what we kept telling ourselves, and that's what our whole business plan was designed around. We just saw that they were working so hard. They had so much to do. They had to wear so many hats, and we just were like, we need to help them, and we have the skills to do that.
Okay. What about database management? That seems to be a big thing with everybody. You got to be on top of it, not just an Excel sheet. Do you guys have that service too? Do you guys work with database management and marketing campaigns? How do you operate there?
Yep, we do all of that stuff. We will organize your database. We'll organize your calls. We can get a marketing campaign going for you, anything that you want. The challenge with that is you have to make the calls.
Yeah. Absolutely. So what do you find the biggest challenges in getting the word out and building your business at this point?
Well, we've been doing quite well.
Really?
To be honest with you. And I think it has to do with the fact that, we have been known in the real estate community for many, many years. And, they can trust us. And, we do make sure that we have all of our clients sign a contract. And that's because it does have in there, information about us not sharing their information, their clients' information, their database with anyone else. And for me and Meaghan, for us to be above board honest, it's just in our being and in our core. And I couldn't lie to even save my own life, to be honest with you. And, we want to make sure that our agents, can trust us.
Yep, the confidentiality of their data.
Absolutely, 100%.
And it's totally like Melissa said. I think the biggest challenge would be building that trust, because they're putting this transaction in our hands, and they have to answer to the client. So that's a big ask right there. And I think, we're really fortunate to have already been in the industry, and we know these people. So, and we cut their paychecks, we handle their paperwork, so they know that they can trust us.
Okay, so when a realtor goes to a listing appointment or has a new client, do they introduce you as part of almost like their assistant? Where do they set that stage to say that you're going to play a role in that transaction?
So one thing, we talk with the agent about how they want us to be presented to their clients. Some people create an email for us, under their own team name. Sometimes we create an email signature for them. So it's very important that for the client, we're just someone who works for this agent.
Okay. And what happens with problems. Give us one of your biggest problems you've had. You got to have a story.
You don't have to name any names.
Yeah.
I honestly, I mean, it's probably more,
Well, you're preventing the problem.
Exactly. I mean,
So I would
things do happen. I mean, always. I mean, I guess I just, had one where the lender was kind of not, we're supposed to close Friday, and the lender was asking for a roof letter.
Oh gosh.
A roof letter.
Yeah. In a plumbing contractor to come out, and that was yesterday the 1st, and we're supposed to close on, Friday. So I think, that of course was out of our control, and I had to talk to the listing agent and, just kind of talk them down off the ledge and just let them know that, hey, this is not typically how, we want things to go. Unfortunately, there are hiccups in transactions.
Well, there's a lot of players in the transaction.
Absolutely.
And you don't have control over anybody really, but you've got to try to keep all the plates spinning, right? That's kind of how I envision you guys working, right?
Absolutely.
Plate here,
I
plate
can
here,
see that.
plate here. Keep them all going.
Yeah.
What we'll run into issues where literally as we're running final numbers, somebody goes, "Oh, hey, wait, there's an addendum." Adding seller concessions after the inspections, and we don't get it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you go, it's not that we won't close on time, but we got to stop, get 6 other people involved, processor, underwriter, closer, potentially a manager in there to go, okay, we need a quick rush here. We got to get this fixed because it's got to be right. Yeah. And you go, if we would have just had it weeks ago, The other thing that I would love your opinion on is time frames. 5 years ago, we would have closed a transaction in 35 to 45 days. Our average clear to close right now is 15 days.
It is insane. It is absolutely insane that it can go through the entire mortgage process in that short amount of time. It is. So that does require us.
Yeah, I mean, you're working faster, and especially in this crazy seller's market, right? Okay. People just want to close. They don't care if they have to give the seller 60 days occupancy. They want to close, and they want to close fast. So that makes all the precision of the transaction so much more important.
Yeah, because that I guess stellar communication can shave a couple days off that transaction, and that's very important. It absolutely is. Of getting all that information, getting everybody on the same page, and that's communication with your lenders too.
Absolutely.
So, and how do you find communication with out-of-state lenders in that? Is it okay, or is some harder than others? What's your experience with communication in general with other title companies, lenders, and other agents? Are they receptive?
Absolutely. I would say that, we hear a lot from them, and which I really enjoy and like. I mean, they also help kind of keep us on track of the next things as well. And that I absolutely appreciate.
So are you getting milestone updates when it's appraisals ordered, it's back from underwriting? How are you obtaining that information? Are the lenders putting you in their systems, or are they just sending you an email, or how are you getting that information?
By any means necessary.
Absolutely. I mean, they're either sending us email updates, or, maybe they're, giving us login information to their portals as well.
I think people are really receptive to having us involved because, like you said, the timeline is so short and everything is so critical every stage if you're going to get this done in time.
Yeah.
And you have there's someone at home base who can always answer the email, answer the phone call, answer the question, and that helps move things along,
Yeah, because, as fast as the market's moving, that realtor, if they're a buyer's agent, they need to be out opening the doors, showing the houses, writing contracts. Timing is so critical. That if they go, well, I can't show that house because I have paperwork from the deal that we got accepted last night, they're going to lose that buyer and the next buyer opportunity.
Yeah.
As crazy as this market is, I have seen many buyers get offers accepted when they're the first one in the door.
Right.
Yeah.
And we want them to be out getting more clients.
Well, it's funny because over the weekend I thought, oh, it's Memorial Weekend, man. No one's putting in offers this weekend,
Slammed.
I had to do a pre-approval. He was the first one in the door and got an accepted offer. He goes, what do you mean this market's crazy? I got, what have you guys been talking about? That was easy.
Right.
First one in the door.
But the buyer has to be able to make a quick decision. The agent has to be there to support them. And I honestly think, look at the listing agent's duties these days. if they're going to list a house, we almost see most listings hit the market on Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah. Coming soon.
Okay, they do coming soon for a day. It's listed before the weekend. They start accepting showings, and it's typically sold by Monday.
Yes.
They'll have an insane weekend. And how many agents do you see that go, oh, they got 2 or 3 listings coming up in a week? You know, they're going to be insanely busy for that 3 to 4 day period. And then all the paperwork's got to be done.
Exactly.
So you look at the multitasking and go, okay, they need help. And this is a really effective, affordable solution that you have created to expand their business opportunity.
Well, I would assume. So let's just take that potential listing, and I'm assuming that you guys will do the coming soons and do the Facebook posting and all that.
Absolutely.
There's got to be some hours involved into getting that listing and getting that Facebook and getting all that. Can you give me an estimate? How many hours would that take your team?
I'd say a couple hours.
Okay. But now that you took that agent out of the market for 2 hours, making phone calls, prospecting, following up, more appointments, more showings.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
That was something that I learned in business early on. My husband had a business for 25 years, and I tried to be the bookkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was that business owner that back in the day before we had QuickBooks, you know, you showed up with a shoebox full of receipts to your CPA. And then it would take the CPA's bookkeeper a while to sort through stuff before you could file the tax return. Then we got smart and went, oh, I hired a bookkeeper. Best thing I ever did to run my business. Right? I don't worry about QuickBooks. I don't worry about balancing the checkbook. The numbers are there. And my job as the business owner is to focus on the managerial accounting to run the business. But I don't need to do the detail work, you know. And it honestly saved me money at the CPA.
Absolutely.
Right? Because the CPA was like, oh, I don't need to charge you anymore for my bookkeeper to clean up a year's worth of mess. You know, it's kind of the same thing that you've created. You're the bookkeepers of real estate.
Yeah. And it probably saved you a lot of frustration too.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
typically,
Way smarter. And I was able to grow my business, scale my business, and go, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
that goes
focus on what
about
you're good at.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
Yes,
right. Our job is
stay in
to
your
originate
lane.
loans. Realtors are to go out and get listings and get buyers. And you got, you know, it's how's it go? Eliminate, right? Delegate or automate.
Yes.
You know, and I can see utilizing your company as a competitive edge for any agent who wants to monopolize or utilize their time more efficiently.
Well, that's the downfall of any small business. And real estate agents are small businesses.
Do it all.
Or medium businesses. You know, you could be the best bread baker in the world and go open up a bakery because you're passionate about it. But you're not a bookkeeper and you don't know how to run the back end of the business. And that's why businesses will fail, because they're not, you know, when we had Jim's business, you know, he was a home inspector. He was a great home inspector, but he was not going to manage the back end or do the marketing. And that's where our skill sets complemented each other. But then I did delegate. So you go, you know, no, it's such a freeing feeling. And you go, again, let's scale it. And realtors, you need to hear this.
You know, it's funny. My old man always told me, he goes, hey, Vic, can you cook a better hamburger than McDonald's? And I said, hell yeah. And he goes, then why aren't you a billionaire? You know,
Yeah.
Because I didn't have the processes and systems in place to
This is
cookie
kind of
cut everything.
It's kind of like, let's equate it to, you are real estate engineers. You have engineered
Oh, yeah,
the real
that's a
estate
good one.
process, listing side and buying side.
Yeah.
You know, and automate it. And again, as a real estate agent, you have to invest in your business. And this is just a huge, huge growth platform. And for a newer agent even, you know, it's going to be an affordable option that can help you scale.
Well, let's talk cost. Can we talk cost on these programs? How affordable is this for an agent turning in a transaction and using the silver, the gold, or the platinum? What does that entail?
Sure. So it really depends on if it's a listing or a transaction. So let's talk about listing price first. So your basic silver listing package, we charge $250 for that particular package. And, you know, we create the transaction in the broker transaction management system. You know, we're going to upload all the documents. We're going to make sure that the commission splits between the company and the agent, you know, are accurate and correct, the best of our ability.
Put it in the MLS for you, the showing time, all of that. But that's it, you know, so
In
just
order
take a little,
pre-title, because we do
take a little
know
work
that
off your-
pre-title is extremely important.
yes,
At
and review
listing
it.
time.
Okay.
That's another,
Yes.
we review that.
Okay, so that's for a listing. I'm a realtor. I'm going to go, hey, I got a listing. Here's $250, or, you know, I'm going to take this. I want you to do the listing only, right? That's a $250 deal, right?
That's a basic.
Okay.
You can get, you know, all the bells and whistles. You can get the coming soon. You can get all the advertising. You can get
Okay.
the ordering of the signs and all of that. So
Okay, so let's say I get this listing and the deal's going on. All of a sudden, the seller gets cold feet and backs out. Do I still have to pay, or is this on closed transactions only?
So this is typically a conversation that we have with people ahead of time, you know, and it can vary based on the situation. If this is someone who uses us all the time, you know, we'll say, hey, let's just put that towards the next
Like
one
a title
type of thing.
company.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So every situation's unique, and that was really important to us as well, to not be too rigid in everything that we're doing, because everything is different, and every team
agent
is
is
different.
different. Their business is different. Every transaction is different.
Yeah.
You know, we want to be able to, you know, appeal our services to anybody really that is in the real estate industry.
And to adjust them, you know, based on what
Right,
you need.
right.
You might say, well, I want all the bells and whistles, but this is I write the addendums. That's what I do. I'm great
Right,
at it.
right.
I want to keep control of that. That's fine. We can adjust things.
So this is
based on
good
what you
old-fashioned relationship building with that agent, understanding what makes them tick, their hot spots, their cold spots, and their weak spots and strengths, and
Exactly.
kind of a la carte within that.
need. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Wow. So this is kind of interesting. So are you scared at all?
I think we're just super excited. We really believed in this idea because we saw the need for it for so long, and we really thought that it would take off. But I mean, we're so amazed and grateful with how busy we've been and how, you know, happy our agents are with the work. And, you know, they tell us, oh my gosh, like I didn't know real estate could be, you know, so much less stressful than it has been.
More refreshing. is
Yeah,
what we're
absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, we want the agents to still be able to have time with the ones that they love. And doing the paperwork is really time consuming. And, you know, they're going to go home and they're not going to have anything left to give to their families. You know, they're going to be completely drained, and that's not what we want for them. We want them to be able to thrive and have the lives that they want and build the businesses that they want to have, knowing that we're here to help them.
That's a great thought, because you think about all the newer agents, those that have been in the business 5 to 10 years. They're younger and they have families, don't they?
Yes.
You know, I was just talking to somebody at the Association of Realtors about events this year, and they said, well, we're going to change it up this year. And when I started to think about it, I went, you know what? For instance, nobody's going to show up at an after hours very often. Why? Because they're at the soccer field or they're showing houses.
Yes.
You know, it's not just, all realtors. I mean, the average age of a realtor, frankly, is in the state of Michigan was in their late 50s. And I'm sure it's kind of creeping up, but the newer generation is young and active and vibrant. And you're right, they do have families.
20 to 30.
And I don't want to be age discriminating here, but, you know, even older, more seasoned agents, they might still be at the sports field, but now it's their grandkids, you know, or
Exactly.
they want to walk the dogs. You know, there's a lot of things in life that are important. And, you know, if you can prioritize what's important to you and delegate some of the stuff that needs to be
I think people get
done.
into this business for the flexibility. They want to own their own business. They want to work when they want to work. And now we're in this market where you almost kind of have to be ready at all times, you know, so they have to buy themselves time.
Yeah, self-employed and flexibility means 7 days a week.
Exactly.
And that's what people don't get, you know.
Well, what I can see here as a newer agent or even seasoned agent is that you guys would act as an extension of that agent's professionalism.
Absolutely.
Because you would work parallel with that agent and actually mentoring the agents who need some help in transaction control, freeing up time, and just show them ways on how to make the perfect transaction process so they have something to build upon.
Yes.
Is that fair and accurate?
Yeah, I think, you know, that would be an ideal situation.
Yeah, because I know as, you know, we've always worked with realtors, and I said, look, we can't always be in a position to give you referrals because people don't just drive up for sale sign and say, hey, let's go get pre-approved.
Right.
They're going to call that agent. And if that agent gives us a referral,
we're not in a position to reciprocate so much. So it's always been my philosophy to act as an extension of that agent's professionalism, help with the communication, help with some joint marketing, help wherever I can to free up their time so they can turn in the deal and forget about it.
And ultimately, this is customer service.
Yes.
It's about creating a smoother transaction for the buyer or the seller, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you communicate with sellers and buyers throughout the transaction too? Do you find yourself getting pulled into that where you're actually calling and talking to the sellers or buyers?
Absolutely. 100%. We do. We'll, arrange, hey, we're going to send over a document for you to sign. Hey, please make sure you get this signed. I want to give them a heads up because a lot of times we need these signatures very quickly.
Yeah.
Typically, when we get started, we introduce ourselves as an admin or executive assistant to the agent. And then they know that they can contact us as well. The agent's not always available. We're available. We can answer those questions. We can, help them have some peace of mind.
In this current market, okay, coming soon on Thursday. We got 11 offers by Sunday, and now they got to make the decisions. Are you involved with the agent helping sort through all the offers and what's the best offer and structure at all? Or?
So we have not had the opportunity for that yet, and it is definitely something that we are willing to do as well. Absolutely.
Even if it's just to kind of organize them and let here's the pros and cons of each one. We're the behind the scenes people, and that's where we like to be. And we want to, for the agent to just appear that they have this team behind them.
Okay. Because me at home, it looks like I make all the decisions, but actually it's my wife, that makes all the decisions there.
That's where it's all happening.
Yeah. And you are a lucky man. We say that every day.
Yeah.
Us too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How many years has Maya been running the show?
25 years now.
I mean, thank God. Right?
Thank God.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So, but hey, I just keep it nice and calm. But it's nice
He cuts the grass.
Yeah.
That's because you have your own personal life coordinator, which is Maya.
Yeah. I'm hired from the neck down. I just drive and pay. Well, I do whatever they say. And yes, I'm one of those elder guys that's still at soccer. 2 more games to go for my entire life. 3 games. Wow. And that's it. So. And my kids actually won the soccer tournament, came in first place for the...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the team we were playing never showed up for the finals.
Oh, no.
Shingo was happy to take the medal.
Oh, no. That's hysterical.
Sounds like a lack of communication.
Yeah.
They needed a team coordinator.
Yeah.
That could be another business for somebody.
Hey, Meaghan, can you kick a ball?
No, but I can tell you where to be on time.
Oh, my God, here. So... what other trials or tribulations, and how do we get the word out? What is the message to the agents and or title companies to get the word out about what you guys do?
I mean, if you see someone who's struggling with time management, which I would imagine every agent would be right now just because of how busy things are, we have a website, we have a number. You can do everything on our website as well. You can fill out a form with your information, what you're looking for, whether it's a listing, whether it's so you can get that done real quick.
Can I pick a la carte right on your website of what package I want for a particular deal?
You can. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We want to make it as easy as possible. This shouldn't be a time-consuming process for you.
Okay. And now some of these agents that don't have CRMs for their databases, I just want to talk about that. Do you guys have CRM capabilities for them, and they can go on a monthly subscription? Or what do you recommend? Or
yeah, we absolutely do. We, offer database management or database creation, if that might be the case, which is going to be a lot of work up front. But then, it's just maybe a monthly subscription of, cleanup and follow-up and that kind of thing. So, again, it really is going to be tailored to what the agent wants and needs,
Wow. So, so you've been doing this. When did you actually open the company?
Well, we received our LLC back on December 23rd.
Okay.
So, obviously the thought process behind starting this, started, probably September, October maybe. And
I'd say before that, I mean,
it might have been
we were
before
talking
that.
about this for months.
Yeah.
Just seeing the things that came in and the problems people were having, and EMDs forgotten, and title work not ordered. So, we were,
Addendums.
we spent
Yes.
kind of months. We're going, somebody has to do something. And then I guess it finally struck, I guess it's us,
So now, are title companies being very receptive to this too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the title companies seem to be the ones always left out of the loop of what's going on
Yeah.
in a lot of cases there. So how are you advertising your company to the membership, to the agents out there? How do you advertise?
So we are currently members of LCAR as affiliate members, and we have done some of their events, and Facebook is a huge part of where we're getting a lot of our business.
Okay.
I think right now it's a lot of, word of
Word of
mouth
mouth.
and knowing.
The old-fashioned way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So how would an agent or prospective seller or buyer get a hold of you guys? What is the best way? Do you guys have a website?
We do. They can visit realleveragesolutions.com and get everything they need to know right there. They can also give us a call or a text.
Okay, and you guys could do it just a personal consultation.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we would prefer that as well. We want to, especially if it's an agent that we're not as familiar with, we want to be able to have a conversation with them, whether it's on the phone, a Zoom call, or we're even willing to meet in person too, so that they feel comfortable.
We'll take our pajamas off and
Yes.
Are you guys available just for a hotline? Hey, I got a question. What the heck could I do here?
Absolutely. And that's really important to us. Again, it's about helping the
Building
agents.
rapport.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I actually had an agent, I think it was last week. We weren't involved in their listing. We have a transaction that we're involved in. And the agent had, sent me a text and said, hey, I know you're not involved in this, but do you mind just putting up the showing instructions? Absolutely. And, there's no charge for that. It's just, I'm helping out the agent that is already a client of ours, so that they can continue to do what they do best. They had just left the office to go showing, and they needed something else.
You can't always do that from your phone. Well, how many, and this might not even be a question you can answer, but how many different systems do the realtors have to work in nowadays? I know in our mortgage world, it's not just one thing, right? We've got appraisal systems, loan origination systems, credit reports,
Database
Fannie
management
Mae,
systems.
Freddie Mac, database management. I mean,
Social
we,
media.
We have probably 15 different things, and a lot of them communicate, which is good, but there's so many different things. It's not just going to one website and going, oh, here's your transaction, right?
Correct.
I mean, there's a ton of different things that have to be done, and there's moving parts, and the technology is great. Like, it's showing time is the cool thing that the realtors use. But yeah, that just doesn't populate all by itself, right? It has to be loaded, programmed, managed, updated, so that it works. And that showing time, not only does that communicate with the buyers, the sellers, but that's how the real estate agents get access to the house.
Yes.
If that's not programmed right, it's going to be a problem.
Well, it's funny you talk about technology, because with all this, the 15 platforms of technology we use in the mortgage industry, well, that has actually driven those closing times down from 35 days down to these 15 days, which has really helped. But a lot of people get lost in technology, and I see your company being utilized as the technology on the real estate side, helping to come together with the mortgage side to even shave more time and give people a competitive edge.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Out there. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. I've never heard of this type of business, but there's a need for it. I could definitely see that, because us working with realtors and title companies, and I remember when I started in the business 22 years ago, I had interviewed about 40 agents. And I couldn't get any business anywhere because everybody had these relationships. And I would talk to an agent and say, hey, I know you got a relationship with a lender. What's your number one problem with lenders? Unanimously, communication. So I figured, well, if I can fill that void, I may have a shot in this business. And that's what helped me, get through the 22 years. So you guys are trying to fill that communication void and that leverage their solutions to keep the agent out on the streets where they belong.
Yep. And it's not that they can't do this
Right.
stuff, but do they have the time to do it right?
Right. Either cut your lawn or hire someone else to do it. So you got free time to take mama out to dinner.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's excellent. So again, what's the phone number that these anybody could reach you?
810-844-1835, and they can give us a call or send us a text.
Okay, and what about an email? Do they have a company email?
info@realleveragesolutions.com.
Okay. Any closing words for our agents or title companies?
Yeah, give us a call, guys. Like, if there's anything that you need, any questions you have, you want to feel it out, you want to, just give us a call. We're available.
Excellent. Danielle, any closing comments or words?
Thank you so much, ladies. It's
Thank
always
you.
a pleasure to see you, and we're super excited about your venture. So look forward to having you work on our next transaction.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
that we're not waiting for title work and addendums.
they're involved in a couple of our transactions right
Awesome.
now, and I love it. So,
Awesome.
again, that's Danielle Boote. We got Meaghan Murphy, Mel Goucher. I am your host, Victor Bals, and we will see you next time on A Smarter Way Home.